up onto the flake. The nice thing about the flake is it allows for traction. If you feel the floor, it's actually got a little bit of roughness to the floor, and it prevents slipping. Then after the epoxy flake dried for 24 hours, we came back in and put a clear polyaspiring finish on top of it. That finish is UV protected, so what that means is that it will not yellow over time if the windows and the doors. That will dry for another 24 hours.
Sony's PlayStation Network, and now your credit card info could be at risk. The online network has been down since last Wednesday. Sony just announced yesterday.
2011 was once again a promising year for Sony to make a move on Microsoft, but a major snag came. On April 20th, Sony acknowledged that PSN was having issues and that some services were down. Shortly after, the company confirmed that there was an intrusion on the network and that service would continue to stay down for a few days while they investigate what exactly happened. On April 25th, Sony announced that the time needed to fix and rebuild the network would be longer than expected. All the while, many customers were curious as to what exactly was accessed on the network, with Sony not openly admitting much else besides the third-party intrusion. It only took another day for Sony to confirm suspicions that personal data may have been compromised. The week after, local government agencies in many countries got involved, questioning the severity of the breach with Sony directly. On May 1st, Sony confirmed that there would be a welcome back compensation package to customers as a means of goodwill. Though this was still announced rather early, as the network still was not ready to be opened again. There was also an additional attack on Sony Online Entertainment, which held back the restoration of services. The outage was officially over after 23 days, with PSN slowly returning on May 14th. Sony offered free games and themes back to returning users and a $1 million credit card insurance policy good for 1 year. The company was hit with a lawsuit and fined 250,000 British pounds under British law. Sony says the breach cost them $171 million. This didn't just cost money, but public image. Demonstrations, but many gamers and Microsoft's core audience will start to recognize that most of the companies which many thought wasn't focusing on what gamers really wanted. Many debates that would happen on with Kinect-focused games, Resistance 2, Resistance 3, and a myriad of other exclusives that seem to be releasing on a bi-weekly basis, whether they were bigger titles or more niche. By November 2011, the sales gap was now less than 2 million units. PS3 was at 56 million, 360 was at 57.6 million.
Been a while since I gotta take old Sophie out for a spin.
With the PSN breach behind, 2012 was more or less a similar story.
Are you ready to get
Sony
to it?
continued a consistent release of exclusive games, and Microsoft insisted on more Kinect. And while Sony did have an agenda as well in pushing PlayStation for sales and software, it also didn't pay off nearly as well as Kinect did for Microsoft. In March 2012, Sony's Fergal Gara openly admitted that the hardware had not lived up to their expectations. PlayStation Move fell into obscurity at this point, and wouldn't be made relevant again until its use in PlayStation VR years later. E3 2012 was the point in which Microsoft began to see serious backlash. They spent a large portion of their E3 conference showing third-party games, Kinect, and TV and video services. Games like Halo and Forza were not cutting it anymore for Microsoft's core audience. Sony's E3 showcased a few exclusives and spent a portion of the show focusing on PlayStation Vita, but they closed strong with extended footage of The Last of Us, a game which by release in 2013 went on to make an incredible impact on the industry standard. And during CES 2012, Sony had a perfect provision of the PlayStation 3 and it
me.
Like a breakfast buffet. Compare prices, then read reviews. Your fit. The perfect hotel does exist right now for the private house.
January 2013 was the month Sony had been working towards for more than 6 years. It was being reported that PS3 shipments have now surpassed 360. And while unit shift did not necessarily begin soon, this was the point where Sony was now about to outsell Xbox 360. And once May rolled around, it was reported that the with PS3 a few thousand high. And with that news came the conferences that would bring the announcement of next generation hardware for both Sony and Microsoft. The world was now learning about PS4 in February and Xbox One in May. With all eyes pointing toward next gen, PS3 and 360 started to cool down slightly. Microsoft revealed the Xbox 360 E and E3 and sold April 20th, 2016, Microsoft officially entered manufacturing the new Xbox 360s, but Sony sold the 60 everything was all set up. PS3
Watch out! Watch it!
Hunters. Concentrate fire on exposed areas. Fire when they will.
In actuality, Nintendo reigns supreme in the seventh generation of video consoles, selling for value points. Though most games get knocked down with that with some and Xbox Live pioneered the online gaming ecosystem with running chats, gamer score, and a reputation system. It became it needed to pull buttons. Sony figured they could do whatever they wanted. Release an editing price, release it whenever they want, and make an architecture that's so complex that they didn't care about what their software brings. That's you can't just do that. They would surely lose all of their customers.
You call that quiet? Dead folks are quiet.
Of the PS3
And now they're dead.
releasing great games that people want to play. Sony did play catch up. And if it weren't for Microsoft, PS3 may not have ended up being so great in the end. Microsoft would not learn from their
Only
mistakes.
socket hackers
So
shook
after
the
the
press
next
during
generation hardware, Xbox One. In the end, neither system truly won. While PS3 overtook 360 by a million consoles, it stands to reason that they both pretty much evened out. It's that very fact that made the entire life cycle such a close race. PlayStation 3 and Xbox 360 were the first truly connected HD social consoles. And with that came the many growing pains that ultimately fell onto consumers, whether it was failing hardware or network breaches. But one thing can be said with the utmost confidence. Some of the best games ever made were released on these platforms. Regardless if it was PlayStation 3 or Xbox 360, over 160 million gamers worldwide can agree.
I think
Star Wars
that
Generation was one hell of a ride.
I'll take point.
Hey everyone, it's Ryan. Thank you so much for watching the documentary. I hope you enjoyed it. And if you didn't see it, actually did 2 other ones. One is PlayStation Vita about the PlayStation 4. Hope you didn't see those. If you want, you cover PlayStation reviews about
Sophia wants to say a few words.
game documentaries. Speaking of which, I really appreciate it at patreon.com/Ryan. I'm sure you've heard many of the YouTube shows. Very tough platform sometimes. Takes a lot of time. Sometimes greatly appreciated. Of course, you do not have to. But there are a little few personal perks out there trying to get back to as well. Otherwise, subscribing also just your support as always. I appreciate everything you guys ever do. It's always you're always so awesome. Other than that, that's all I've got. I'll see you all.
Make your way to the other side, Chief.
Acknowledge. Moving to position.
Something 2026. It's not just the management, but your whole team startup that's actually literally fix all of that. They've got everything you need for real bad. From
This one.
Better Sleep does cost-correct your budget, and Sleep has options at every price. If you've been thinking about upgrading, that's the most popular brand in 2025, like Nectar and Dream Cloud. Shop at Sleep
Shorted.
Saw this on the orientation vid. Split lip training room.